Hello guys, good evening. I want to discuss about dilution and also titration. So dilution is a method of changing the concentration by adding more solvent. And in this case, because we are talking about acid and bases, so the solvent that we use is water. There are we can say basic formula of calculating the concentration in dilution, which is M1 times V1 equals to M2 times V2. So V1 over here, it means that M1 and V1 is before dilution. So before you add more solvent, and M2 and V2 is after you add the solvent. So after dilution. So in this case, if we have the question like this, sodium hydroxide 2 mole per decimeter cube is diluted 10 times. Okay, then 45 milliliter of the diluted NaOH is used to titrate 20 milliliter of H2SO4 or sulfuric acid. So in this case, we see that, yeah. First, you have to be careful because here there are several kinds of volume data here. The first one, 45 centimeter cube of the diluted NaOH is used to titrate 20 centimeter cube or milliliter of sulfuric acid. So it means the volume over here are the volume that is used in titration. So that's why in this case, we have the dilution part and we have the titration part. And then A, find the molarity of the diluted NaOH. So it means that we have to look at here, yeah, and then after that, find the molarity of the diluted NaOH. Let's just find together, yeah. So in this case, we still don't know how much of the sodium hydroxide solution that is used in dilution, but we can just put it as V1. So in this case, the M1 or the molarity before dilution is 2 molar per decimeter cube. So we can just say 2 molar, yeah, 2 molar times V1 equals to, we also don't know the molarity, or in this case, I'll just write down so that you won't get confused. I'll just write down here 2 mole decimeter to the power of -3 times V1 equals to M2, which we still don't know, times V2. But V2, because it's diluted 10 times, so it means the V2 is 10 times V1. Now, in this case, because on the left and on the right side, we have V1, so we just divide by the V1. So it means we divide by the same variable so that we can cross this out. So it means that we can see that 2 mole decimeter to the power of -3 equals to M2 times 10. So in other words, we can say M2 equals to 2 mole per decimeter cube divided by 10. So it means 2 times 10 to the power of -1 mole decimeter to the power of -2, okay, or molar. So in this case, we already got the molarity of the diluted NaOH, which is 2 times 10 to the power of -1 or mole decimeter to the power of -3. Now, it means that the one that is used in titration is this molarity. Yep, okay. So when we have to find the molarity of sulfuric acid, okay, so it means that we have to find first the mole of the sulfuric acid that is used in the titration. So after we finish with the dilution, so A part is about the dilution, B part is about titration. Yep. So it means here we find first the mole of the sodium hydroxide. How do we find it? Okay. For your information, because the unit of the molarity is mole per decimeter cube. So it means here 45 centimeter cube should be converted first to decimeter cube. So in other words, we can say, if we want to find the mole of the sodium hydroxide, okay, the diluted one, okay, I'll just put it here, the diluted one, it means that 45 centimeter cube, I change it into decimeter cube, which is 4.5 times 10 to the power of minus 2 decimeter cube. Okay. And then after that, times 2 times 10 to the power of minus 1 mole decimeter to the power of minus 3, or per decimeter cube. Yeah, so this one can be canceled. And then it means here we have 9 times 10 to the power of minus 3 mole. Now that's just the mole of diluted NaOH that is used in titration. And then in order to find out the mole of sulfuric acid, we have to write down first a balance equation, which is NaOH plus sulfuric acid solution. Then the products will be sodium sulfate dissolved plus water liquid. And then after that, we balance it because there are 2 Na atoms on the right. So there should be 2 Na atoms in terms of 2 molecules of NaOH or sodium hydroxide on the left. And then after that, we find there are 2 and 2, so 4 H2 for hydrogen. So it means here we should multiply by 2, yeah, by coefficient 2. So in other words, if we already know the mole of NaOH diluted, so it means that from this balance equation, we know that 2 moles of NaOH will be equivalent with 1 mole of sulfuric acid. So in other words, the way we find out the mole of sulfuric acid is half of, yeah, half of, because the mole ratio is 2 to 1. So it means that mole of sulfuric acid is always half of the mole of sodium hydroxide. So it means half times 9 times 10 to the power of minus 3 mole, which is 4.5 times 10 to the power of minus 3 mole. Yep, okay. So in this case, it's like this. Done. So then when we want to find the molarity of sulfuric acid, it means that the molarity, the mole that we use is 4.5 times 10 to the power of minus 3 mole. And then after that, the volume that we use is 20 milliliter or centimeter cube. We convert it into decimeter cube first. So it means that the molarity of sulfuric acid equals to 4.5 times 10 to the power of minus 3 mole divided by 20 centimeter cube. I change it into 2 times 10 to the power of minus 2, yeah, decimeter cube. So it means over here we have 4.5 divided by 2 is 2.25, yeah. And then 10 to the power of minus 3 times divided by 10 to the power of minus 2, it means 10 to the power of minus 1. So in other words, we can say 2.25 times 10 to the power of minus 1 mole decimeter to the power of minus 3. Okay, I think that's all the first example of dilution and also titration. Okay, thank you so much.